In tonight's Top Gear, new Maverick, old Freelander. Spot the difference. A Ginetta that's better. And it's a gas, converting to LPG.
America, the big country, the widest of wide open spaces. Some of the people are pretty big too. And they like to drive big cars. In fact, some are so big that they aren't cars at all, they're trucks. Americans like trucks, trucks that can go off-road. Even thin Americans like those. It's all a bit crass, really, isn't it? Not that you'd get away with that sort of malarkey over here, not on your Nelly, not with our petrol prices and our congested motorways. No, what you need is a smaller, handier, vaguely European-feeling sport utility vehicle. Something that still makes you feel as though you're wrangling wild horses in Montana, even when you're just planning to take the pooch for a mooch around Middleton Stony. What you need is the Ford Maverick, and it needs you. Yes, sir, Ford has made more money than anyone, satisfying America's vast appetite for vast leisure vehicles. But with the cost of fuel rocketing in the States and the eco-lobby piling on the pressure, the Maverick is what you get when the world's second biggest car company wakes up and smells the coffee. I'm smelling something else in here, I tell you. Anyway, to say that the new Ford Maverick is more attractive than the old one is a bit like saying that Liz Hurley is more attractive than John Prescott. Because unusually for an off-roader, it actually features a few curves here and there, rather than taking a concrete block as its main inspiration. Instead, it looks decidedly like the Land Rover Freelander, the Maverick's arch-rival and possibly its nemesis. But we'll come back to that later. Visually then, it's more Captain America than Captain Caveman. But is it an incredible hulk to drive? Well, it shouldn't make you too angry. The Maverick is more of a high-rise estate car than a shrunken truck. Its rear suspension is just like the Ford Focus's, and it has a car-like platform rather than a truck-like separate chassis, which means you won't need a sick bag every time you go round a corner. Spend too long looking at this dashboard, though, and you might come up with an alternative use for that sick bag. Oh, it's logically enough presented, and everything is exactly where you'd expect to find it. It's just that the whole interior has a cynical air of mass-produceness about it. Oh, it even smells mass-produced. The steering wheel is ugly and has a nasty perforated rim, and all the switchgear crunches and groans rather than clicking and gliding. And look, it's got a column shift. Yeehaw. Now, you don't buy a soft-roader dreaming of flying laps of Silverstone, and with expectations set suitably low, I can report that the Maverick is still pretty slow. Why? Well, just like the people who love them back home, excess weight is the enemy here. Despite toting a grunty 3-litre V6, the Maverick struggles to haul its sorry ass to 60 miles per hour any faster than about 10.5 seconds. Performance which is eerily close to the Land Rover Freelander V6's. Maybe it'll work better off-road. Well, it is a four-wheel drive after all. Although because the Maverick doesn't have cross-axle diff locks, it would be all too easy to get stuck if you tried terrain any more tricky than, well, than this, actually. I say would, but to be honest, I haven't tried, and I'm not going to, because the person thinking of buying a Maverick isn't going to go off-road. What I can tell you is that it's perfectly capable in dusty, snowy or icy conditions, and that the V6 version has a 1,700 kilogram towing capacity, so it can lug hefty trailers. But let's be clear about this, it's primarily a road car. It rides well, it steers like a regular car, it has car-like safety features. It's just not quite as refined as the Land Rover Freelander, which is also more capable off-road. Okay, so it costs about £2,000 more than the £21,000 Maverick. But on-road, off-road, in terms of image and quality, Land Rover has it licked. Even Ford is modest about its ambitions for the Maverick. If it shifts about £2,000 a year in the UK, well then the marketing manager can sleep soundly in his bed at night. And besides, Ford owns Land Rover anyway, so there's no need to sweat it. They're going to make piles of money whatever way you slice it. Sorry, mate, you might fancy yourself as a bit of an all-American hero, but not even your mum and dad really want you.
I can't help feeling that we've all started to take things for granted. Modern cars' spoilers rotten. Even a basic Vectra is a far cry from the good old days when the only optional extra was a seat belt. But now, Ginetta, the tiny Sheffield sports car maker who are big in Japan, are going back to basics with a hair-shirted roadster that echoes the racing cars of the 50s, where men were men and ABS stood for a Bakelite steering wheel. You won't find any doors in here. There's not a window in sight. There's absolutely no need for any windscreen wipers because there isn't much of a windscreen, and you will search in vain for a roof. However, this car did come to the office fitted with a highly practical weather protector, so when it rains you just pop the button and You don't even get a boot for your 14 grand. You can save 1,000 though if you buy one of the first batch, which will only be sold on the internet. No, there's no heater, radio, sat-nav. Dream on. In short, Ginetta have stripped away everything that isn't strictly necessary to try and deliver the purest driving experience possible. After all, less is more. And if it isn't, then they're really pushing their luck.
Those fingers in my hair.
A tiny windscreen may be good for aerodynamics, but it's terrible for your hair, and flies in your face don't do much for the complexion. Over 50 and you might want to try wearing a helmet, but you'll feel such a fool it's better to lose it and accept that a Ginetta day is also a bad hair day. Once you've got used to being pulverised by the elements, you can start getting used to a punishing driving position. The wheel and the seat don't move, so they have to be fixed for each owner at the factory. Surely a sliding seat wouldn't be too much of a sellout. In the meantime, shorties like me have to stuff a few cushions behind their back. Great. And for a pure driver's car, having the handbrake in the way of the gear lever is simply unforgivable. The lever itself could do with being a lot further forward as well. Then there are the pedals. They're too far apart to heel and toe. There's no real place to rest your clutch foot, and you have to brace yourself with your knees against the transmission tunnel and the body. For a no-compromise car, there are an awful lot of compromises. Get used to that and you can start concentrating on the Ginetta's performance and handling. It's powered by a 1.8-litre 138 bhp Ford engine, which goes a long way in a light little car like this. 0 to 62 takes an eager 6.4 seconds. And if you're already bald, you can do 126. But you'd have to be brave as well, because it's not the most relaxing car to drive. It's skittish over bumps and needs a firm hand and quick reactions when pushing on. From a distance, it looks fantastic, but up close, I'm not so sure. The nose and the rump are pleasingly curvy, but the cockpit sides are awkwardly straight, and the build quality is really rather ropey. There are only 2 panels, and even they don't fit properly. And there are lots of details that aren't well thought out or finished. Now, which of you anoraks have spotted the MX-5 headlights? But perhaps Ginetta owners won't really mind too much about that sort of thing. If this is a car intended for track use, then you don't worry about paint runs and flimsy trim. You want a car that's solid, easy to mend and fun to drive. When it comes to handling. The body rocks and rolls all over the place, and you have to be pretty butch with the steering. Rear end breakaways are pretty almost feel guilty criticising this car. It's built by enthusiasts for enthusiasts and developed for less than BMW spent on developing a door handle. But while it is a grin on the circuit, the G20 is too rough and ready, even for me. Still, if you can live with its flaws, it could be just the thing for a bit of old-fashioned track day fun. If you're looking for an antidote to the sterilised, too-good-to-be-true, mass-produced roadsters, then this could be the tonic. Less isn't always more, but sometimes it's just enough.
Still to come on Top Gear. Gassing up our guide to the strange new world of LPG. And the Top Gear auction report. What am I bid? Before that, our autobiography.
The Highway Code was first conceived in 1931. It really is a masterpiece. It's very important. It's up there with the complete works of Shakespeare, with the Bible. Now, why do I say that? I say that because between 1918 and 1937, some 200,000 people were killed on our roads. And the reason was that there was total anarchy. So at the RAC, it was the brainchild of someone called Mervyn O'Gorman, who was on the RAC motoring committee, and he came up with the idea that we should have this code which all drivers should follow.
This includes correct signals such as I am slowing down, I am turning right, should be signaled like this, and here's the correct signal for you may pass me. This sort of signal is unfortunately very common. It's not only wrong, but meaningless. Don't flick your cigarette ash outside, it's very misleading.
Now, it's evolved over 70 years. It has adapted to the times. We saw the introduction of speed limits on motorways in 1965. We saw warnings of drink driving in the 70s. In the most recent editions, there are warnings about the use of mobile phones. But the thing that's probably changed the most is the number of traffic signs that are now in the Highway Code.
Road signs provide employment for sign makers, but that's not the only reason they're there.
So this is arguably one of the most important signs for the period 1931 to 65. There was a great danger that motorists could emerge from a side road onto a main road and obviously be in collision. In the 1930s, the crossroads sign had a 4.5-inch harm. After the war, they increased that by an extra inch to make it a bit more visible. And in 1957, it was basically turned into the vertical position, the north, south, east, west sign, as I call it.
Most crossroads have a warning sign, but all crossroads should be treated with respect.
The roundabout sign, this particular example is post-war. A small but interesting fact about this is that you'll notice the hyphen before the round and the about. That only appeared on this type of sign after the war. Pre-war, it said exactly that, roundabout without the hyphen.
In a recent survey that we conducted, we actually found that people's ignorance of signs was quite amazing. For example, the sign that shows wild fowl, people actually thought it meant puddles in the road. Or the sign that shows to beware of side winds, people actually thought it was a kite flying area. Or the sign that says no motorised vehicles, people thought it meant beware of fast motorbikes. So it just goes to show that many of us really need to go back to school to take up the Highway Code and read it again and learn those signs.
A life on the road, taking risks like these, may be a gay one, but it'll be a short one as well. Take things slowly, and remember the old saying, it's better to be late in this world than early in the next.
New LPG outlets like this are opening at the rate of 1 a day as more and more drivers are attracted to the half-price fuel with its less harmful emissions. But how easy is it to get converted? How much will it cost? And how will it affect my car? BBC News reporter Ashley Blake runs a Land Rover Discovery with a very thirsty 3.9-litre V8 engine, and he's been looking at the sums.
Well, at the moment, I'm getting about 17 miles to the gallon out of this, and I do around about 25,000 miles a year, so it's proving very costly.
But converting's cost is, well, it's about, what, £1,500 to upgrade the car to LPG.
At current fuel prices, I'll be spending around about £5,500 a year. If I convert to LPG, that's virtually half price, and I'll be spending about £2,500.
So you'll actually pay for the conversion in just over 6 months?
It seems to make sense, doesn't it?
What do you do?
Finding someone to carry out a conversion is easy, but knowing if they're any good can be a bit harder. The LP Gas Association will provide a list of their approved fitters, but at the moment there's no substitute for first-hand recommendations from owners with similar cars to yours. But beware, many of the upmarket high-performance machines have sophisticated engine management systems that are difficult, if not impossible, to convert. Even our current car of the year, the Ford Mondeo, will need its engine valve seats changing if you want to run it on LPG. The government-sponsored PowerShift website will give you the names of places experienced in converting your type of car, as well as telling you if you're eligible for a grant.
You need to have a vehicle that's less than 1 year old, and it must be listed on the PowerShift register. The grant programme is primarily aimed at fleet operators, so that's the reason for the 1 year rule. But nevertheless, it's important for people who are going to get their car converted that you go to a converter that is approved to quality standards. That is, above all, that the vehicle conversions are safe, that they're built to quality standards, and that the vehicles offer the emissions benefits that they can achieve if converted properly.
With no grant on offer, Ashley turned to a converter recommended by his local Land Rover dealer, and now had to decide what sort of tank layout suited his needs best. So, Gavin, there's obviously lots of technical stuff under the bonnet, but what most people want to know is where's the gas going to go?
Right. Well, there's several options we can offer. This here shows a cylinder tank which gives you the largest capacity. I understand you're going to lose a small amount of boot space, but with the combined petrol and gas, you can offer him a great distance.
So that's for maximum range. We can do, what, like 500 miles?
I'll get you up to Scotland, yeah. So if we move on to the next one, this tank here offers us another alternative. It's a donut tank. This goes into the spare wheel well and doesn't leave any obstructions behind the rear seats and keeps the boot entirely free.
Yeah, but you're cheating. You've taken the spare wheel out.
Ah, right, OK. The customer can fix it in an upright position, OK? Or alternatively, we can go for a puncture repair kit, or we can go for a puncture prevention system at time of conversion.
Take a bit of a gamble.
Right.
So what are you going to do with Ashley's Discovery then?
OK, with Ashley's, we're going to take out the petrol tank and we're going to replace that with a gas and a petrol tank option.
So he keeps his whole boot?
That's right, he keeps all his boot and he has all the fuel underneath.
But things don't always run so smoothly. When John Turk had his 14-year-old Audi converted by a local dealer, he soon found out there was more to the job than a neat hiding place for the gas tank.
When we was coming to traffic lights or junctions, it was stalling. And also there was like a blowback, as though it was like a shot out of a gun. And when I kept taking it into the garage, they said run it for a bit and it would become all right, but it has not done that at all.
The problem is that they've over-elaborated on the gas system and it has detrimentally affected the petrol side. So it's a big rectification job.
With his Disco now converted after 3 days in the workshop at a cost of £1,820, can Ashley feel any difference?
I can feel no difference whatsoever. I've still got that gorgeous roar of my V8 engine there, which you can hear as I change down the gears.
So what are we running on now then?
Well, we're running on gas. I can tell that by this little switch down here. I've switched it over to gas. In fact, I think the only noticeable difference is the engine runs smoother and quieter.
Unfortunately, any existing warranty will be invalidated, but converters will offer one to replace it. Just make sure you read the small print. And you must also check with your insurers and get their approval before conversion. So if you want to switch from conventional fuels to low-priced gas, As long as you're prepared to lose your car for a few days and lose a bit of boot space or practicality, as long as you choose your converter carefully, you'll soon be, quite literally, halving your fuel bills. Coming up on Top Gear, who'll start me at a tenner, the auction game. But first, the Top Gear verdict.
They say America is the land of the free. Well, some things should be. Take this Chrysler Neon RT, for example. Please, somebody take it. This RT may have 150 brake horsepower under the bonnet, but the only way you know it's there is by the noise. This car doesn't get faster, it just gets louder. 0 to 60 in 9.6 seconds is reasonable, but the Neon never feels quick. Chrysler's other RT badge model is the Viper, and that's where the similarity starts and ends. Firm ride bodes well for good handling, but it's an illusion David Blaine would be proud of. The steering gives you no clues as to what the front tyres are doing, the gear change is cumbersome and the body rolls unnecessarily. Chrysler want you to believe that this car is fun to drive. It's not. On the outside, it might look like a pole dancer, but under the makeup, it's more of a barn dancer. The rear spoiler looks thrown on, and the other gimmicks do nothing to dispel the boy racer image. Inside, it comes complete with genuine plastic-look leather and hard surfaces everywhere. The oversized steering wheel looks as though it's been fitted upside down and finishes off an exceedingly dull interior. RT is spacious, big cabin, big boot, but it's more a practical family car than any sort of performance car. For £13,995, you get airbags, aircon and ABS. In fact, lots of goodies. Sounds luxurious, but this car doesn't feel it. It's £500 more than the standard Neon, but really it's not worth paying the extra. If you want real fun to drive and only a little less practicality, then I suggest you pay £1,000 more and buy the Seat Leon Cupra. It feels £10,000 more and it is great to drive. Or if you really need a half-decent, cheap saloon, the Daewoo Nubira 2-litre CDX is £2,000 less and comparatively better to drive, but no quicker. And who knows, maybe in a few years' time, if the Americans try really hard and put some work in, they could be challenging the Koreans. So the Top Gear verdict on the Chrysler Neon RT is an un-Yankee Doodle 3 out of 10.
Mention the term car auctions, and I bet your thoughts turn to wretched hives of scum and villainy, full of bent motors and secret codes. You think auctions are scary.
Scary? Don't be silly. War's scary. Car auctions aren't. If these wide boy dealers can crack it, well, so can you. And the sooner you face up to your fears, the sooner you get access to the biggest bargains around.
And we're going to be regularly proving that point in a series of auction reports. These are the places the trade buy their stock. So buy here and you're cutting out the middleman, and more importantly, the middleman's profits.
Private punters normally make up only about 10% of the buyers here, but there's no reason why it shouldn't be more. I mean, things might look a little mind-boggling, but there are certain cars you can watch out for in order to make life a bit easier. Like this, the direct fleet car. It's direct from a company, only one owner, and has usually been maintained with absolutely no expense spared. This is an approved car, which means the auction house know the vendor's solid, and it comes with guaranteed mileage, full service history, and no major mechanical faults. It's going to be a little bit older than some of the cars here, but then that's where the value is. Then there are dealer part exchange cars. Dealers use these places to offload stock they don't really want, which means you can get bumper value on cheaper cars like the Peugeot 106. They're often sold as seen, which doesn't mean they're cheap and nasty. It just means you've got to have a good look round before you decide to buy.
So that's established what you're likely to see at an auction. But to really get the inside track, it's time to pick the brains of a man who knows.
We're offering the best part of 20,000 cars a week. There isn't a car that you've ever dreamt of that we don't sell at some stage, someday, somewhere in the country. All the cars here, you know exactly where they come from. You know who they belong to, what happened to them. They have service histories, they have logbooks, they have everything else. And, of course, you're buying with good title.
What car would you avoid? What type of cars would you avoid?
I hear people who come here, they've got £1,000 or £1,500. They want to buy an old car. They just want wheels, they just want transport. Now, I have to say that is not good value for money. The best value for money is a car that has got good service life, it has a good service history.
With those thoughts on board, it was time to enter the bear pit and witness the white heat of auction battle. It's vital you experience 4 or 5 auctions before buying. At times, the atmosphere and noise means you can barely hear yourself think or speak.
Now, it all sounds pretty mad in there, but believe me, you soon tune into what those blokes are gabbling on about, and there's real value to be had. So, in the cold light of day, let's go and see what the bargains have been. Now, take a look at this. It's an extremely clean example of a very honest family hatchback. It's a Mazda 323, it's a 2000 on the W, it's got only 1,600 miles on the clock, and it went for £7,300. That is a saving of £1,000 over forecourt price. And what about Top Gear's car of the year from a couple of years ago, the Ford Focus? This is a 1.4 CL 5-door petrol manual. It's got 9,000 miles on the clock and it's worth £7,800 on the forecourt. Some lucky punter walked away paying just 6,700 quid. And here we have a Renault Clio. It's a 1.6 petrol automatic, 99 on the T. Perfect for running around town or as that second car for the family. It's got 20,000 miles to its name and can be driven out of a showroom for £7,000. Except today, somebody got it for £6,150.
Here's one for the lads, a Peugeot 306 GTI that went for just £7,600. And one for the dads, a Rover 75 for £13,000, £1,000 less than a dealer would charge.
And what about this 316i BMW entry-level motoring? It's a 4-door, 98 on the R. It's got 87,000 miles to its name. It's got air conditioning, alloys, ABS and electric front windows, and a dealer wouldn't take less than 8,000 quid for it. Today, somebody gave just over 7. Take your pick. The majority of cars that were here this morning have all been bought by dealers who are going to sell them back to you at a profit. There's nothing scary or difficult about auctions. The only frightening thing is there's not more of you down here taking advantage.
Next week on Top Gear, a feisty, go-getting, all-action girl meets Lara Croft. Camera tricks, speed cameras in the dock. And the Vauxhall Astra gets its kit off.
And there's more about four-wheel drives in the July issue of Top Gear magazine.